All right, I am about to head out for my very first time trying Pilates in a reformer. Lots of thoughts. I'm pretty nervous. I have done Pilates before, just body weight, and it is very hard. It's definitely a good reminder of all those tiny little stabilizer muscles that we don't put a lot of thought into, but they are there. I'm most nervous about, so the very first time, one of the very first sessions with my coach when I started working out was side planks and just going up into a dip on a side plank, and I couldn't do it. I broke down in tears. I was like crying on the floor of the gym. Not a great memory. And I know that Pilates deals a lot in like the side lying or side plank position. So that part I'm a little bit nervous about. I definitely have gained strength since I started working out, but side planks are still a personal nemesis of mine. A couple questions I do have going into it. I did a little research online, but again, I don't know specific for her studio. So I'm going to ask her the weight limits on her machines. I'm going to ask her if she's worked with someone in a larger body before, and then what she recommends for footwear. I couldn't get like a clear answer online. Some people have like these little booty sock things. Some people had toe socks with like the clingy bottom for gripping, I guess. I have a pair of those, so I'm bringing those just in case. And some people just went barefoot, which I'm comfortable with. I exist barefoot as much as I can. Jiu-jitsu, which I've also done, is barefoot sport. So I'm totally comfortable doing it fully barefoot. I think those are really my only big hesitations. I myself have fallen into the trap of thinking that Pilates on a reformer is for people in smaller bodies. It's kind of the only people I see doing it, and sometimes it can be viewed as more of like a boutique, kind of a higher end, I don't want to say like suburban mom type workout, but I know it's very challenging. I know it's for everyone. I hope so. And this instructor sounds beautiful. She was recommended to me by a friend who I trust. So I'm nervous, but here we go. We just started out getting used to the machine and the springs and kind of feeling my body resistance. We just did some simple leg presses. The shoulder positioning in those pads felt a little bit like going in for an MRI, just way more pleasant. So we played around with some foot position, worked on some adductors and hips and knees, and just got used to moving that machine. It was really fun, and she had a lot of really good input on my lower body movement patterns. And then next she put me in some stirrups, which were fascinating. We did some more presses. She had a lot of input on my pelvic position, my hip position, and she was really good here about making sure that I was staying within a nice range that was super controllable and not going into my hypermobile full spectrum range. But if you can see, I'm smiling. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a little bit uncomfortable in this position at first, for sure, being in those stirrups. And then the pain was real with these tiny movements, especially when she added that ball. But we had some good laughs, and she had some good pointers like this.
Now, this is a little bit weird, but I want you to think about kind of lengthening this hip a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it kind of looks like that hip wants to, which I noticed when you were doing the footwork, but
Yeah, it is.
it's tight. The left side's tight. Yeah. So we'll just pay attention to it. We won't overthink it. So now all I want you to do is just bend your knees in towards tabletop and allow your pelvis to just stay heavy. There you go. And then press your legs away. Good, but again, getting them straight but not hyperextended. Go ahead again, bend.
Next, I got up on a box and hooked my feet under some strap, and we did some core work, some lumbar work. It was a lot harder than it looks. I definitely was shaking a bit here, but in the best way possible.
I mean, not by much, but they function the same. I like to have a mix because like I said, I work with a lot of older clients, so some feel like that's too close to the ground and they don't want to get down there and pick up again. But then also there's some work that we do standing on the machine, and some people don't like to stand on those tall ones because it's too high. So I just like to have options. You're gonna hold those. Okay. What do I do? And let your arms just relax by your sides. I said relax, but I shouldn't have. I want you to energize your arms down by your sides. Yeah, good. So now we're gonna work on just a nice seated posture. So I would shift your ribs back and space them.
As you can see, Melissa was super engaging and informative. We had a lot of good laughs, and I am clearly too tall to film the second half of the portion. So this is kind of what we did. I had an absolute blast. That was way more fun and way more positive than I thought it would be. It is important to note that I drove away from the session feeling super accomplished and proud, not because I did anything overtly like challenging or intense or anything crazy hard for me, but I just did something out of my comfort zone. And I think it can be as simple as that. Doing something that you're maybe anxious or nervous about, that's out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be crazy, challenging or intense. It just has to be something a little bit, something you're not familiar with. And you can get that huge sense of accomplishment and pride. And it's a big rush. It felt really nice. So I went to Melissa Allen Studio in Mystic, Connecticut, near where I live. She was recommended to me by a friend, and she was wonderful. I'm actually going to go back and take some more classes. Her studio had 4 reformers in it, which I really liked, because I've seen some studios in the past where there was just equipment for as far as the eye can see, and it just seemed like a lot could happen and I wouldn't get like the attention and eyes on me that I would want in a setting like that. So I really appreciated the smaller boutique style of her studio, and she has machines with a weight limit of 425 pounds, which was handy to know. A quick Google search showed me that most Pilates reformers machines have weight limits around there. I saw some that were in the 300s, but most were 4/500 pounds. You won't be doing anything crazy uncomfortable if you're nervous about trying this. There's ways to kind of modify and make this fit any body, which I really, really appreciated. So you can change the resistance on the springs. You can change the range of movement. You can change different styles of movement, and they had a couple different equipment options in there. So it's definitely versatile and up for modification. And I don't feel like you'll be forced to do something wildly uncomfortable or like something that causes you pain or embarrassment or things like that in this setting, because it can all be super duper modified to fit your body. And I thought that was a really neat thing that I wasn't anticipating about specifically the reformer. Melissa Allen, works with a lot of everyday people. She said she had some older clients, and that made me feel comfortable. She also mentioned that she worked with a couple people who have hypermobility, which was very helpful for me to understand, knowing that she had worked with bodies similar to mine. And it was just something we kept an eye on during the session, where she'd say, straighten your legs, but don't walk your knees out. And we were just both conscious of making sure that I wasn't going into anything that's going to hyper extend or put me in maybe a not great position. So that was helpful that she was aware and kind of knew how to keep an eye on that. And the day after, the following days, I wasn't sore per se. I did have that feeling where some muscles were like, hey, we did something new and different, particularly in my lower back, so my lumbar area. And I don't do a ton of training down there. I know I used to have a lot of low back pain when I was working as a chef, just moving mixing bowls around and big heavy pots full of hot things that I'd like hold away from my body. My lower back used to hurt all the time. And so it was nice to feel just that level of soreness. And it kind of shed light on, hey, maybe we should do some more training, like movements in my programming when I'm training in the gym that accompany those kind of movement patterns. So that was helpful to understand. And I also think that my knowledge of anatomy helped me get more out of the session than I had anticipated. I think I would have been nervous maybe a couple of years ago had I tried this. Even though I had already started working out and moving, I just didn't have the working knowledge of anatomy that I do now. And since some of these moves are really, really, really small, they're little tweaks here and there, it's like a position shift, a half a centimeter, knowing what muscles are where, what muscles are working, how they work, why they work, knowing how to engage and recruit them really, really helped me get more out of this session, I think. So it's not something that I think you need at all. And especially if you're working with someone like Melissa, who is able to cue so well. I was blown away by her cues and her input and her eye, catching every little detail. So if you're working with someone like that, you're gonna have a great experience. And honestly, I recommend 10 out of 10. I think this could be something really, really good as an accessory to people who lift in the gym regularly. I think it could be really good for people who need to work on some stability, some core, someone who wants to do some more like resistance training, but maybe is not sure how to get into some of those movement patterns or hold positions well. This was very fun, very enlightening, and I can't wait to go back for more. Thanks for watching.